Hey, it's 719. FHB, First Hawaiian Bank, Cabo Enterprises, and ITD proud to present The Link. Daryl and Noni went in Guam at 7:20. Good morning. Let's go to the KUAM News Zoom room. And we have the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center standing by. We have Sylvia Kinata of the Adult Counseling Division. She's the head. And also Helen Onadera from the Crisis Hotline. She is the coordinator. Okay, ladies, can you introduce yourself? Because one of you looks like a Sylvia, one of you looks like a Helen, but I don't know which is which, so I didn't want to mess up.
I'll go for the Sylvia since I'm the Sylvia.
Oh, good.
So my name is Sylvia Kinata, and I'm the supervisor for the Adult Counseling Branch here at the department.
And I'm Helen Onadera. I am coordinating the temporarily overseeing the crisis hotline. Yes.
How long have you guys been with the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center?
For me, I made my 20 years last year.
Wow.
Yeah, started off as a social worker and then furthered education and got my master's in counseling, moved to counseling about 12 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been here for 4 years.
4 years.
It went really fast though.
So Sylvia, you've been there quite a while, so I'm sure you have been through a lot because we have had so many disasters within the past 20 years, and the increase in drug use, the need for rehabilitation and recovery services, and here we are with this COVID crisis. Can you tell us about how, I guess, you've seen this increase in need for services at the Behavioral Health and Wellness Center?
Sure. So when I first came in, services at that time for, I'm looking back at the years that I've been here, and I'm comparing like how it was in the beginning and mildly people started to get educated. So they eventually started to learn about this place and what we're about. And, we're not so dangerous after all and scary. So they now realize that we're a place that they can come to get help and for whatever emotional and behavioral health they need. And then, so now with the pandemic, we have just skyrocketed in numbers, and it's almost scary at some point because the good thing though is our administration right now, our management is helping us by hiring a lot of people, but the numbers are still there. We're tackling it one day at a time as best we could. But the numbers just keep getting up there, and we're dealing with it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. When you say numbers, I guess in the past 5 months, what kind of numbers are we talking?
So before the start of COVID, actually before COVID, I think we were averaging like 25 to 30 calls a month. We've definitely, I know we recently ran the data and we're getting up to 500 calls a month now. So that was the last 2 months. Before then, I know that at the height of COVID, the first wave or, before all of this, we were getting about 500 to 700. So we're slowly seeing it increase again. And we do see that every time there's a new executive order or there's a new, mandate in place, we see the surge here on our end
Wow.
as the number increases. Yes.
Helen, what do people say? What are they saying when they call the hotline? What are some of the things? Again, not specifics, but just maybe generalities.
Mm-hmm. Well, generally, we are seeing a lot of people who are feeling anxious, due to unemployment, being laid off, wondering where the resources are, wondering before all of this, when are they going to get their checks? We're linked to the 311, so which is the 8 to, operates Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and we're option 6 or 7. It changes. I think we went from 6 to 7 because PUA started, but we would get callers too who are just pressing numbers until they can speak to someone. But when we do get someone who is seeking hotline services, it is, yes, anxious or depressed, loneliness, because, there are people with health problems and they just can't go out in the community. So it's up to us to figure out to kind of help them, figure out some coping skills that they can do. What have they done before, and what does the new normal look like for them during this time?
Mm-hmm. What age demographic are you mainly taking calls from, or have seen an increase in calls from?
We're getting from like teens, say about 12-ish. Then all the way up to
All
seniors.
the way, yes.
Yeah, and recently we've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of people walking in that are seniors.
Yeah.
Seniors are
That's
walking
It
in?
doesn't discriminate with the age. I think
Yeah.
What are some of the things that the teenagers are saying?
12-year-olds?
I think,
Yeah, 12-year-old, that's young.
Again, I think as we go longer into the public health emergency and the kids are being stuck at home, a lot of them are craving that social connection.
Right.
That they are at that stage in their lives where their brain craves the peer interaction. So I think it's a lot of that, and kind of just struggling with being stuck at home with their parents, and the parents are just parents probably are at their wits' end as well, just trying to navigate, working and having their children at home. So I think it's just a lot of that. Everyone's just cooped up and needs a place to be able to vent, So a lot of it is that, or that they're feeling like the rules are a little bit more strict than usual.
Right. Right.
Because of that.
Or asking basic questions like, so how long is this thing gonna last?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Oh,
what
God.
do you do about it, and how basic stuff like that, I guess that the average person can't really answer, and then they'll call here.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out as well
Right.
how we're going to deal with those calls, and so we try to deal with it as best we could and as much as we could.
I want to ask Sylvia because I've been noticing, and this kind of started maybe a month ago, and I've been feeling it too, right? Where my friends are calling me and they're telling me that, they don't know what's wrong. They just feel heaviness, you know what I mean? But these are people who are going to work or just, regular people who maybe before COVID were the most happy-go-lucky, and now they just don't know what it is. But there's something there, right? So do you get concerns like that, Sylvia? Because I do, and I just say that that thing that is weighing down on you, it's just this unprecedented period that we're living in. And I know we hear it all the time, but it really is unprecedented. I don't think that our generation, especially my generation, we didn't live through the war. You know what I mean? We've had it pretty freaking easy. And so this is the first huge thing that emotionally and spiritually we've had to deal with. So you get those kind of comments, Sylvia, where people just feel like something's wrong, but they don't know what it is?
Sure, occasionally. I mean, you're right. The hardest thing we've lived through is typhoon, and that's like second nature for us to deal with, right? It's like, oh, another typhoon. Oh, okay, break out the barbecue, break out the goods in the pantry, right? And then, so this one, we are, as a community, we're reacting to a very unpredictable and uncertain time in our lives. So that's freaking us out, right? We're trying to see how we can deal with it. So when people call and, say, hey, I don't know what's, going on with me. I can't seem to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work anymore. So these are all natural reactions to this very, weird predicament that we're in. So what we, tell people, we kind of give them some some pointers, right, as how to go about dealing with it. We throw in some mindfulness there, okay, you know, the deep breath and all that basic stuff. But the important thing that we tell them is that if this lasts for a long period of time, right, and it starts to interfere with your daily functioning, if you're going to school, if you're not able to go to school, you don't want to go to work. So if this is a prolonged feeling that you're going through, then perhaps this is the time to, you know, start thinking, okay, maybe I do need to seek some professional help. So kind of, you know, let everybody know to keep in mind that it's okay, what we're all going through, we're all feeling it, I swear, even us here.
Yeah.
We're feeling it as well. You know, we have to learn to help each other out, talk to each other, you know, that's the best way. Pick up a hobby. You know, right now they're telling everybody to, oh, you know, learn something online, right? So that once this thing passes over, you have something under your belt that you can help yourself get through.
Like,
So, yeah.
like you said, you guys are feeling it too. Has there ever been a situation or a call that you guys have taken and you just kind of were at a loss of words, not knowing what you should tell this person? And how did you deal with that? And how do you overcome that?
Part of my responsibility of overseeing the hotline is debriefing with the staff who received the very intense calls, the calls where they do want to kill themselves or they express wanting to kill others. And so that's part of my role to debrief with them, just to check in with them. We have sometimes we offer debriefing with them, just kind of process with them through the feelings. We also want to make sure they're okay before they go back on their next shift, because of course, if we can't help others, we can't help ourselves. So we need to make sure that that we're okay, and that's how we're supporting. Yeah, we take that's how we support each other on this side. Just continually process. We also we laugh a lot. I mean, that also helps us get through the day.
That's how we get through.
Right.
Yeah, those are some mechanisms we have in place. And the same thing, like, again, if it's just like, hey, I think I need to just take a day or two off, by all means, you know.
Mental health day.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and because we're 24/7, you know, around the clock, we are operating, you know, there's no weekends, there's no weekdays.
Right.
So yeah, that's it. There's pros and cons to
And I mean, I feel like we can kind of relate too, because, you know, we're in this position where, you know, no matter what's going on with Chris and Sabrina or Jason or, you know, Jose or anybody here, no matter what, come 6 o'clock, let's on this radio. We got a job to do. You know, we got to inform the people.
Yes.
We got to give them the information. And it's been tough, especially being here from day one and just drowning in all this information. Most of it just really hard to just process, you know, people getting sick, you know, the government incompetence, just having to deal with all this stuff. It's hard. It's hard.
And then having to balance that with your family life, right? For me, I don't know when I'm ever going to see my parents again. They don't live here. I have to get on a flight just to go see them. And so that kind of weighs on me. I'm not trying to turn this into a session.
Yeah, no, we are actually. That's the real reason you're here. I'm like, I need 20 minutes.
Stressful. Dealing with this guy? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay, Bree. No, and you know, we took 3 weeks off.
Would you like to come into our office?
Right. Is there a back door though?
No.
No, but we took 3 weeks off, right? When we were doing containing COVID, we took 3 weeks off to kind of just, to unplug really. And the first couple weeks, it all just kind of hit me, and just taking these calls. And the worst for me was our people suffering. You remember going back to the first lockdown, just thousands of people lining up to get little meals for their families, you know, people out of work, just the desperation that we were just constantly hearing. And I feel it. When people tell me they're struggling, I feel like I'm struggling. And so for that little bit of leave, I don't know about you, Bree, but like the first week, I just was like,
I was still working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were. And I think I got it bad. I mean, she's like working twice as hard as me. But you talk about hobbies, right? So something that worked for me and I think works for a lot of people is just going outside, going off. I like to go off where there's nobody and just sit there and look out at, like, I mean, we're so blessed, this paradise. Any time of the day, you can go somewhere and you can just see a most awesome spectacle that God has put on for, I mean, it beats any painting, beats any TV show. And so I think a lot of people are finding that solace in that, outside. And we talk about activities. What
And
are
you're
some?
right.
Yeah.
You're right. The beauty of our island is you can go anywhere, anytime, and still feel that safety environment, right? It's not like scary to go anywhere. So I just kind of wanted to tag on to the, when Bree asked the specific calls that we get and how do we respond to them. I just wanted to add on that first thing that comes to our mind when we get calls like that is the safety issue. So we kind of, keep the person on the phone, ask them, we do our really quick mini assessment. And then if need be, we, of course, if we feel it's an urgent thing, we require them as much as we can to come into the department as soon as possible.
500 to 700 calls a month. That is an alarming number to hear that that many people in our community are in need of, talking to someone to help sort out what they're feeling.
Right.
How many staff members or people do you have answering the phone? Right. And how long are their shifts?
We have about, I want to say 30 to 40 people on rotation for the hotline. During, again, you must have heard it, but our director will always say Guam Behavioral is never shut down. As a public health emergency was announced on that Sunday, we went right into emergency services within 24 hours.
Right.
What we did was we closed all our outpatient services and we pulled all our counselors, social workers, and peer support staff and made them part of the rotation for overseeing the hotline and then doing the crisis intakes. And again, it's just for crisis services, right? So like Ms. Sylvia was saying, if we have a call that we decide or that we determine may need additional support and they're well enough to come in, we were here on site as well to do a clinical intake, and then they can access services after that. We also do have a good relationship with GPD and GFD. So of course we can't go out, but we will give them a call and be like, we have a safety concern with someone in the community. Can you go, and check on them for us? We got a call from this area. And so that's what we've been doing.
Have you ever had, though, and we asked this to the GMH administrator yesterday about people, a nurse that they just couldn't handle it anymore, and so they resigned, retired. Have you had that sort of situation over at the Guam Behavioral and Health and Wellness Center where it's just too much for them to bear to handle during this pandemic, that they've just said, I just gotta, quit. I just gotta step away from it.
Luckily we haven't seen that. Thank goodness. And one of the things that I do like around here too is I kind of like just go through like the offices and check in with the nurses,
check in
and just hang out with them, see how they're doing, kind of break the monotony and just see if how they're feeling for the day. So that's how we support each other around.
Right. I'm pretty sure when everyone sees you, they're like,
So
"Oh,
far, we
Sylvia."
haven't heard any.
They're like, "Sylvia, wait, hold on, Sylvia. Hey, you got a minute?" 45 minutes later.
And I feel you. That's kind of like what we do around here. We're all family.
I was going to say that. That's
Like I'll text Helen in the middle of the night. Hey, did you get this? Or what do we do with this? I want to meet you early in the morning. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So
I wanted to ask ladies. you know how we're in PCOR 3? I think a lot of people, and I mean, I even allowed myself a little bit of hope, thought that, wow, we beat this thing.
3 or 1.
PCOR 3.
When we were in
when we were in
were.
PCOR 3 and everything was kind of inching towards normal, right? I mean, I feel like, wow, this could be over. And then boom, like that, the surge, right? The increase, crazy spike in cases. Now we're right back here in PCOR 1. Emotionally, right? How did that affect people? Because I feel like that was, I mean, in some ways, a harder pill to swallow than the first lockdown, because you had this sense of like, wow,
Exactly.
we're getting back to normal. Wow, kids are going to go to school. And then that was all just yanked from us.
Yes.
Exactly. We all looked at each other, I think, and said, "Uh-oh, here we go again."
Yeah.
You know, everybody brace yourselves.
Yeah.
This is going to be probably harder the second time around, right? Because
Yeah.
now we kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
And,
No, for real, because when we went back into PCOR 1, I was like, all those feelings came back
Yes.
from
Yes.
what happened
Yes.
during the first wave. And it was just this gut wrenching, sick, depressing, stressful time. And you're right. I felt like, oh my gosh, we're going to go into this again. I'm not sure if I can handle this again. And then, of course, we got the news about the case that we had here, and we're still kind of dealing with that. So
Yeah.
it really is just, what's the number? What's the
I mean,
number?
Yeah, what's the number?
647-8833.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, crisis hotline.
Or
Yeah.
311 option 7 on Monday through Friday 8 to 5
Right.
again. But Jen,
And-
yeah, that's
Yeah.
if you can get a hold of us.
Yes, and of course, you can come in as a walk-in any time of the day or night.
Right.
All right.
And we wanted to get you on because I feel like a lot of people on Guam, we all know each other, and we don't necessarily want to go to Pari and talk to Pari about, man, I'm depressed, I'm staring at the wall, I'm just going through all these things. Right? We're so close and interconnected, but you know how it is. We're mamala, right? So
Yes.
to call this hotline, guys, it's like free therapy. Call. They don't know who you are. You can tell them everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No judging. It's a judgment-free zone. So do it, because you'd be
Exactly.
surprised. You might think you're okay. Once you start having someone to talk to and just spill that to, I mean, you'd be surprised. So, ladies,
Yeah.
So a lot of the counseling that we're doing right now is through telehealth as well. So, we're of course trying to protect the public and ourselves.
right.
So we're not allowing, people to come in. So everything that we're doing now, our counseling is online and through telehealth, teleconference.
Okay.
Well,
So-
Sylvia?
And everything, of course, is confidential.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, of course. No caller ID.
All right. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Helen
give
and
these ladies
Sylvia.
a big hand, especially all the operators at the crisis
Thank
hotline.
you too for what you guys do. Keep us posted and, everything.
Sylvia, I'm getting a lot of messages from your friends. They're saying good morning, and also Helen, your mom says hi.
Hey.
She said, "Go pay your water bill."
Sure.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Stay safe.
All right. Wash your hands. There you go. Yeah, it's some real stuff there. The number again, Bree?
It is 647-8833, 647-8833, or 647-8834. And they are open 24/7 to take your call. That is the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center Crisis Hotline. Big, huge thank you to Sylvia Kanata and
Helen Onadera,
Helen Onadera.
daughter of Pauline Onadera. Okay, 7